Hello everyone. In this video, I'll show how to draw or how to design ERD diagram, entity relationship diagram in draw.io. Okay, you can do similar thing in Lucid Chart online version. There is a website, Lucid Chart. You can do it there, and you can also do it in Visio, Microsoft Visio. You can do it there. So in this video, I'll do it in draw.io. Let's go to the draw.io. Okay, let me go to the browser first and then I can share the screen. Okay, so I'll do draw.io, right? It actually redirects to app.diagrams.net. Okay, app.diagrams.net. Okay, we'll draw, right? We'll draw. So this is about entity relationship diagram, right? So you'll see there is an entity relationship here. Entity relation, right? Entity relation is here. So I believe we already talked about in diagram how to represent entity or entity types with some rectangles. Entity types, rectangles, entity name, and the corresponding attributes, right? That is one thing. Then the relationships. Relationships means that connecting lines. Sometimes we can put diamonds depending on the notation we use. And then some arrow symbol or spiking out multiple spikes to indicate many cardinalities, and arrow symbol for the one cardinality, or sometimes we just put one to indicate one cardinality, M for many cardinality. There are other options like optional, mandatory. Optional is indicated by using 0. Mandatory is indicated by another vertical line. Okay, that's it. So let me share the PowerPoint and then how to draw your diagram. What I told in the diagram, or to draw entity types, usually rectangles. Then relationships. Okay. Then attributes. Ellipses. Attributes, ellipses. And then the relationships. Lines. Arrows at the ends. With arrows or multi-spikes, I can say. Multi-spikes. Okay, I'll show it in there. Just let me see. With arrows, multi-spikes at the end. Arrow indicate one cardinality. Multi-spikes indicate many cardinality. Okay. I better go and show, right? You may be thinking, okay, it's now I can go and show. Okay. So entity, right? Table. That's saying it's table. There is another symbol of table. This is the row. This is foreign key. Yes, in entity diagram, we also show the foreign key. Foreign key, what does it mean? In a particular table, there can be one attribute that came from another entity or another table. Foreign key, it came from another table or another entity, right? So, and it is a primary key in that table. Okay, so then it will become in the foreign key, the new table. Let's say there is a table A, there is an entity A, there is an entity B. So B table or B entity has some attribute, let's say X, some attribute is in the B table, right? But this X actually belongs to or refers to the one of the attribute in A table. It can be X in A table as well. Let's say in A table X that goes into B table X, right? Now this X is foreign. This X is foreign to table B. X is native to table A. Now, if X is a primary key, in the A table, then X will be a foreign key in the second table. Okay. So foreign key is that thing. Primary key, as I told, primary key is the primary key. Primary key is one of the attribute. One of the attribute is becoming the primary key, right? The attribute is a primary key. What is that attribute about? That attribute in real life distinguishes that objects from each other. That particular object within that entity set, each other, right? The student entity separate. That is the primary key. Okay. List item, list item entity. Okay, this is one of the entity that you can say. For any of the entities, you can use this entity, right? Entity. There is another symbol entity. There is another symbol entity. Okay, it actually indicates weak entity. The topic can come later. Weak entity, right? Attribute. Okay, so far we saw entity, right? I think in the previous slide that I showed that we have the concept of entity that we need to put there, right? Entity. Then after the entity, then we put the attributes, right? This is one way of putting the attributes. This is the key attribute. Key attribute is primary key attribute. You can see there is an underline. So when you put some primary key attribute, if it is a primary key, underline it, right? Underline it. Attribute. So what is it? Weak key attribute. Weak key attribute. Okay. And this is the derived attribute. Weak key attribute, and the weak key attribute, it will come for the weak entities. This is the derived attribute. Derived attribute is an attribute that is derived from another attribute. Associative entity. Okay, I believe I can explain it later. But in general, you can think when there is an entity types. There is an entity types. Okay, let's see. Because if there is a relationship, that can also be an entity or entity type with its own attributes, and that relates to other entity types. Then we can say it's an associative entity. Let's say order line. Let's say order line. Sometimes it can be seen as in relationships between, let's say, products and orders kind of things, products entities and order entities. And order line is some relationships between them, but it can have its own some of other attributes in it. We can model it as a associative entity. Yeah, that will be relationship many to many, but that relationship will have some other attributes on its own, and that actually usually in real life they also maintain it. So we can sort of see it as an associative entity, right? Okay, just to get an idea, it has something to do with the many to many relationships and okay. Let's see. I think rather than saying it, I think I rather focus on the part that it is sort of relationships, but it has its own attributes and can be treated sort of entities, right? Okay, that's the associative entity. So in that case, sometimes the relationships will take this sort of shape. The diamond usually means relationship, right? Diamond really means relationship, and rectangles means entity. So they're just combined, relationships and entity. Okay, relationship becomes entity types, then it's associative entity. This is the relationships, a diamond, right? Two entity types connect with a line and you put a diamond in between. So that becomes the relationship. So weak relationships, when there is a weak entity involved. Okay, this cloud, let's don't go there, main sub. Okay, we do not need this here. Okay, now we can see different types of symbols. It is the connecting lines. Just a line with one at end, one at one end. Okay, in many representations, this sort of line, this sort of things, it may just mean many, right? A line ending without anything spiking or anything, or without one or without arrow, then depending on the representation that you are using, it may indicate many. Or multiple spikes, that will also indicate many. This is one, n. Okay, I think in my representation, I may not use them all. M to many to many. Many to many. Okay, let's see, just go to the most important ones. Let's say most important ones. I think it's the circle 0, that means optional 0. Let me see, I better go to some straightforward thing. Okay, this is 1-to-1, but it has also that mandatory 1-to-1, mandatory 1-to-1, right? If there is some one vertical bar, that would be 1, and another vertical is to indicate the mandatory. Don't focus on the mandatory right now. Okay, this is, you can say, many to many, many to many. Okay. Yes, for now, this is 1 to many, 1 to many. Okay, let's say for 1-to-1, I can use this. For 1 to many, I can use this. For many to many, I can use this. Okay, this is the symbols that I'll be using. Okay, I want to save this. I want to save this. ERD symbols. Okay, that's fine. Let me keep a I have to just keep in no, put it there, put it there, and put it there. I thought that if I select them together, I can move them together. That is how it is supposed to be. Okay, now I will take a picture and then save it. I'll be using snipping tool from Windows and save it as ERD symbols picture. Okay, let's move on. What about I create another video? I create another video so that you can just, I will just really draw it, right? I will just really draw it. Okay, in another video, I'll show the actual ER diagram drawing. Okay, before that, I want to show one more thing that is sort of important to know. I sort of described it, but you can see, yeah, these also I can attributes, ellipses, and it has different types of attributes, and three types, rectangles and lines. Okay, so another thing is in a ER diagram, you may want to show all of this, right? You may want to show all of this. Table, attributes, relationships, types of relationships, attribute types, required fields, primary key, and foreign key. Okay, primary key and foreign key. That's all. I will just see you in the next video. Bye.